This. All right, so welcome to our Working with Portraits webinar designed to support the Memory Book Online Yearbook program. Our goal this afternoon will be to focus on the functions of the program associating with student portraits. Specifically, we will be reviewing uploaded images, printing class sheets for other teachers or parents to review and then correct, or at least get those sheets back to you so you can correct them. We're going over strategies for detecting duplicate images, how to take care of duplicate images so they don't go into the flow, correcting student names, categorizing students, and using the flow function to create portrait pages. So this webinar is approximately going to be about 30 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. So where I'm at right now in the program, I'm just past the login screen and I'm on the dashboard here. Into where we're going to be working at for most of this webinar, or for the beginning part of it, is the image library. So we're going to go under the Create menu, and we're going to click on Image Library. We get this nice little welcome message that tells us about our folder states. Just going to go ahead and click OK. All right, so right now we're kind of picking up to the point of you just had your class photos, you sent your class photos into us, and we have uploaded your class photos to your account. For those that may still need to get their class photos into us, if you get a link for your photographer, please share that with your customer sales rep. And then from there, once we get them, you also want to let them know when you forward that link of your class photos, if there's any password or something that needs to be downloaded, make sure to include that. Or also be sure to include how you would like those sorted. And there's two ways. There's by grade, where everybody in one grade level is uploaded to one folder. And then there's also by teacher homeroom, which is a little more broken down by individual class. Now, once we get those, we process them, upload them. We usually have that done within three to 5 business days there. With links becoming more available, being sent through email, a lot of time that cut out a lot of the sending the CDs, actual physical CDs. So normally it still takes about 3 business days to get those processed and uploaded for you. Now, once those are uploaded, your class photos, you'll get an email notification letting you know that your photos have been uploaded. You'll go into your job, you'll go under Create again, you're going to go into Image Library, and when you're in here, you'll click the little arrow beside Portrait, and that's going to show you your folders that were uploaded. Again, like by grade would have folders that just had like a number on them, like 01, 02, 03, and those would be grade level. The way I have mine sorted in my demo here is by teacher, which is more broken down by individual class. So normally where we see like the by grade is for like big middle schools or decent sized schools where they kind of put everyone in that and they kind of run those across pages. By teacher, sometimes it just depends on the school, a little bit more broken down, each class gets their own page type of situation. All right, so now that your photos are in, what do you do from here? One of the first things we recommend doing is printing class sheets that can then be sent out to teachers or parent volunteers, or maybe you have student volunteers that go through the class list. Make sure that these composites have the students that they need. Correct names or anything like that. So to generate those composite proofs, you're just going to select one of your image categories, and then you're going to go up above here and you're going to click on Preview. Okay, so then once you click Preview, the program is going to generate just a composite proof that you can then either print out or you can download it and email it out to the teachers. Many I've heard just print them out and then hand them out to the different teachers in the school. At that time, the teacher or parent volunteer reviewing these will go through, compare it to the class list, make sure names are spelled correctly. Because a lot of times, sometimes we'll see the photographers kind of will misspell a name, sometimes put it in. You'll go through, you'll kind of also, they'll kind of mark these. Maybe they might leave a note that this student needs to be in another class. You know, maybe 2 or 3 are in the wrong class, they need to get moved to another class. But that's what these are really good for, just getting those handed out to teachers or any volunteers, just kind of mark them up, you know, any names, misspellings, or who needs to go over to another, you know, a different classroom. I'm gonna do one thing here real quick. I'm gonna put this back the way it was for something we're gonna do a little bit later. Okay. So once we get those class sheets back, there's a couple different ways that we can go about doing some things. So the first would be to, you know, if you have any name misspellings, how do you go about correcting names? For those, what we'll do is we're actually going to go onto a photo. We're going to double click on it. If double clicking doesn't work to bring it up in the preview, just click this little blue info eye right here, just so your image comes up in this little preview window. Over here on the right of this window, you're going to see the name tag. Now, in this case, the name uploaded, it's Marie, but what if we wanted to change this? Maybe this name needed to be Mary instead of Marie. What we do is go over to the little edit pencil here. If we click on that, we'll get a little kind of a heads up, a little warning here, just saying that, you know, this edit pencil should only be used to correct a misspelled name. So we're going to continue. Then we get a little box here to where we can then change this. I'm going to change this to just say Mary. I'm going to hit save. You see that the name has been updated on the name tag there. If there's others, you can hit next, but if that's the only one that you had to do, you can hit done. Okay, so that's one way that you can go through and edit names. There is another spot in the program here that I'm going to show you real quick to where you can edit student names. So if we go under Showcase, not Showcase, we're going to go under Create and then go to the Coverage Report. Now, when your class photos are uploaded, there's the names that are tagged to those photos. Also, it's creating, and those names come into this name list here in the Coverage Report. This is another easy way to kind of go down through if you need to fix name misspellings. So here we have that Mary Abney that I just changed the name of in the image library, but we can easily just kind of click into a box right here. And I'm going to actually change this back to Marie here. So this is a good, easy way to sit here and just kind of go through and edit those names quickly. Since they're all on the list here, you can easily edit the names here. Another good thing that the coverage report can be used for is also detecting duplicate images. So as you're coming down through here, I thought I was going to have one right here with Dana and Diana, but I think those are actually two. Yeah, there's two different students. So, but that's a good way to kind of go through. I mean, do you see the same name twice? If you are seeing the same name twice, then it might be something going back to the image library and checking out. Yeah, or sometimes, as we have seen in some schools, maybe that's not a duplicate name. Maybe there are two students that are named that exact same thing. So it's a good way. Use the coverage report to kind of check out duplicates, easily change names. Now, names that you do edit in the coverage report, anything that we change here, like we changed Mary back to Marie, if we go back to the library, Mary is now back to Marie in the library as well. So when you edit a name in the coverage report, it updates it here in the library. If you update a name in the library, then it's going to also update that name in the coverage report. So the next thing that we'll go through here, actually, I remember there's one more setting I wanted to do. That's for later. Another thing that we can do is, let's say that you have students that are in, when they uploaded, you're checking the classes, you'd be like, oh, you know what, this student actually needs to be in this class over here. Or you have students that need to go to other classrooms. Maybe they changed classrooms, maybe they just got put in the wrong classroom to begin with. So to move students around, it's really simple. All you have to do to get them to the right class category, just click and hold on their photo. And let's see, this is my Applegate 5, so I'm going to take this over to my Weller 5 here. So it's just dragging and dropping it to the folder that it needs to go into. So it's really easy just to drag and drop into where you need to go. So mainly once you get, your class photo has been uploaded, you'll spend a good, I would spend a decent little amount of time in here going over names, making sure your categories are correct, because the better that you have your class photos prepared, it just makes the flowing process a whole lot easier as well. Okay, so we've gone over sheets, we've gone over coverage reports, how to fix spelling, how to move students around. Let's see. Let's go over. One thing before I flow something in is I want to go over no photo images. So let's say that you do have students that maybe missed picture day, they maybe even missed makeup day as well. When we upload your class photos, we also upload some no photo images here that you could use to fill in place for that. Some we see, some schools we see they won't do the no photo image. They'll probably flow the students that they have and then maybe make like a text box that has not pictured or something like that. Some will use the no photos here, so we'll go with the no photo route. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take one of our no photos. We're going to drag and drop it into the folder that needs one, or that has a missing student. Okay, so now it's in the folder. We now need to get a name to it. Now with the no photo images, do not go and hit this little edit pencil to edit the tag on this. With the no photo images, what actually needs to be done to name them properly is to actually click the little X here to remove the tag completely. What will happen is if we click the edit to just edit this name on this no photo, is being that all the rest of the photos, the no photo images, have the same name tag, they're all linked together. So when you edit one name, then it's going to change all the rest of the tags with that same name. So to get around this, the trick to naming our no photo images is to click the little X to remove it. So now that we've removed the tag, so right now what we did was we just broke the link between this one and the rest of the no photos. So now you're good to go up and hit add. And we're just going to add in, I'm just going to name it new student. And I hit save. So we got our name new student on this one, but if we go back to our no photo, we still see all of them still have first last, which is what we want. So again, if you need to use any of our no photo images, just make sure when you're adding names to them, just to completely remove the tag, hit that little X right there to remove that tag, and then hit the new button up here to add in the name. I'm just going to add it back here real quick and hit done. Okay, so at this point we have our class folder pretty much prepared, or at least prepared to our best at what we know. So we've got all of our students, we've got a missing student in here, we've got some students moved out to the correct grades. So now let's go to our pages area. Let's look at how we can then build our class page. So I'm going to go to plan. I'm going to go to page ladder real quick because I need to see what pages I may have open here. Okay. Here we go. Okay. So when you're in the designer and you're ready to build a class page, one thing we do suggest is going under the designs tab here, and we're going to find ourselves a portrait template. So if we're under designs, we click the drop down, we're going to see all the main categories that are here, and we're going to go under portrait. Now under portrait, when you're first looking at the different categories of templates, they're sorted in two different ways. The top categories here, you'll see that I have a number here like 4x6. This is the photo box size. So they're first sorted by photo box size, so 4x6 being the smallest, and then it kind of works up to a bigger amount. So smaller boxes would be if you want lots of students on a page, to compare the higher, the larger the box goes, the bigger the template is. So I can drag and drop one over. Something like that. Now, once we get past how they're sorted by photo box size, then we're actually in a different sort in just amount of photos per that template. So 1 to 10, 11 to 20, 21 to 30. One thing we suggest when picking out a template is to pick a template based on your largest class size. So let's say most of your classes have between 23 and 25 students, but you have one class that has maybe 28. So you'd be looking for a template based on that size of 28. And the reason why we suggest that is that if you're looking for consistency throughout the book, the photo size, same template, the same photo box size, that way everyone has the same size photo. Picking a template based on your largest class just ensures that consistency, because then everybody will fall into that size. So I actually need to, real quick, I'm going to go to the flow tab here, and I'm going to be flowing my Applegate 5 class here. And when you select a category, it's also going to tell us how many images are in that folder. So I've got 39 for this group. Okay, so I need to go back and I need to try to find a template based on 39 photos here. And let's see, what about this one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That is 36. There's 35. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6. Eventually I'll find one here that's going to work for us. Maybe I might try just one of these here. Okay. All right, so we found a template that's going to work for us here. So with our template, before we flow, there are some things that we can do to kind of go ahead and kind of make a template that we want, or at least kind of get some of the things situated a little differently here. So before flowing the students in, some of the few things we can do to our template are on the page here is we can go ahead and we might want to adjust the flow element a little bit. So the very few things that we can do, if I click on the flow element, there, and the flow element is just where the students are flowing into. It's this large grouped thing here on the page. So if we select it, in the toolbar that pops up above the page, we can change stuff like the font that the names are going to be in. We can change their size. We can change the font color. Now, if we do the stroke option here, this puts a stroke around our boxes. Now, some other things that we can do here is maybe I want to go under the flow options. I'm going to unpin that menu and slide it over just a little bit. But maybe if I got down here, maybe I wanted instead of having these square, maybe I wanted to, I don't know, maybe I wanted to round the corners a little bit. So I could either round the corners, or let's say I didn't want rounded corners. Maybe I just wanted to go to circle. Well, I could pick an oval there. And let's say that maybe I don't want my names on the inside here. Maybe I want the names on the outside. So this time I'm going to go under name options. I'm going to change that from names on right horizontal. Maybe I'm going to go to names on left horizontal. So now we got the names on the outside here. And I'm going to move those off the middle just a little bit here. Okay, so there we go. I made just a few adjustments. Like I said, I changed the name to a different size and style. I picked changed it from square to oval, circle, and I've also given my photos a 1-point stroke. So those are just the very few basic things you can do before you flow the class in. Now, once we've made adjustments, before we can flow the class in, what we'll need to do is go up to the top toolbar and click the Save button. So the program is not going to let us flow into this template until we hit Save. So we're just going to go, if you make any adjustments, just go ahead and hit Save before we come back over to our Flow tab here. All right, so now that we're on Flow, what we're going to do is we're already past this Add a Flow Element part, because you can just, instead of using a template, you can just take a base flow element, toss it onto a page, and adjust it, rows and columns and that more. So it's basically the same thing as what we did here, but ours just started with more boxes and kind of at a better starting point for us to make those adjustments. Okay, so what we'll do from here, we have our class selected. The next drop down we have is name format, and this is first, last. It's going to tell us how many images are in our folder. So we got 30 images, nothing flowed. And then we come down to our start and stop. Now what our start and stop is, it stands for start page. So this is where your pictures are going to start flowing. And then we have our stop page. This is where you're going to have them stop. If, most grades, most classes that we'll see that we have, by class, it's usually you're fitting the whole class just on that page. Now we do have some advisors that do the yearbook for pretty big middle schools or even some really big elementaries, to where maybe a particular grade is going to go across a few different pages. On a flow like that, you'll want to go ahead and have the template that you're flowing into on all the pages that this particular class is going to be flowing. And then from there, you're just adjusting your stop to, whatever the last page is that your last template is on. So in this example, if let's say that the class you are flowing covers 4 pages, then you'll have a template on page, let's see, this is 16, so 16, 17, 18, and 19. So in this case right here, for our single page, our start is actually going to be 16 because we're on page 16. Now also in this example, our stop is going to be 16 as well. So we got 16 and 16. Now, if this were, the big middle school one that went over 16, 17, 18, and 19, then my stop would be 19, whatever the last page is the class is flowing to. But our example, we're on page 16, so we just need 16 and 16 in the start and stop. And then right here down below, this is kind of important to notice. If this is lit up in white, right now it says 42 available positions, just pretty much tells us that everything checks out. Our class is ready. We've got enough spots in our template. All of our progress has been saved. So at this point, if you got your template, you've got your class, you've got your start and stop. This is in white. Now, if it's in red, there means there's something that's not right, and it won't flow until you fix whatever needs to be fixed. But in this case, we're highlighted here in white, it shows available positions. So then we just come down and click on the flow button. And in one swoop, we see everybody flow in there. So now on our flow, so now we have the class flowed in. We've got a few things that we can look out for and that you may run into. So kind of after flowing this group in, well, I noticed right here, my teacher that I wanted to flow first actually flowed in with the middle of the students. I have a duplicate of a student that's here. And I also have a red X in a text box. Well, let's go over the image part of it first here. So when a flow doesn't go exactly the way that you want it, let's say you find duplicates, you find someone out of order, like maybe your teacher needed to be first, or you have red X. The first thing that you'll want to do is actually go back over to the flow tab, make sure your class is selected. You're going to hit reset, and reset just pulls everybody back out. Now, to fix the photos, like the duplicate and the teacher, we're going to go back under create, and we're going to go back to the image library. Now, there are settings that we can put on these photos. Like for this on our duplicate. Now let's say it's not a true duplicate. Maybe it's a retake image. So you're not sure if you may have to use it later or not. But what you'll do on the image that you do not want to flow, let's say either it's the retake or the original, or if it is a duplicate, you're going to double click on the one that you do not want to flow. You're going to go under the details tab. And the second spot down where it has use portrait, you're going to change that to don't use portrait. And then you're going to come down and click apply changes. The reason that we mark these as don't use as opposed to just deleting the image is in the event, and we've seen this happen quite a few times before, a parent will contact the advisor and be like, hey, I would really prefer to have this picture used in the, maybe it's the original, but maybe they want one of the particular student, their child's images to be in the program. Well, let's say that the one that they want is one that you already marked as do not use. Well, that's not a problem. You can still reset the class, take this off of do not use and mark the other image as do not use, and then be able to flow it back in. So the don't use is a way to keep the image in the program with telling it, the program not to use it. If the image were just deleted, you wouldn't have that ability. You'd either have to find some way to, upload another copy, contact us to have it undeleted. So it's just a way to kind of, cover your bases and make sure that you're not without it. If you have duplicates or retakes, just mark them as don't use. It's just a kind of a safety in case you do have to go back to it later. Now, the other thing we wanted to do was make our teacher flow first. So if we go under the teacher's photo here, we go under details. We're going to go down to the type this time, and we're going to change the type to teacher. Now there's a hierarchy on who flows when and where. So any image marked teacher will flow first to the front of the group. Then the next images, any images marked assistant, will flow after those marked teacher. Student images then flow after assistant. And then there's other that flows last. So in this case, this example, I'm wanting my teacher to flow first. So I'm actually going to mark her as teacher so she takes the front spot. Now, if I seen this in very few books, but it's just another way of going about it. Seen some other schools flow to where they wanted the teacher to be last, have the students, and then the teacher be the last spot. In that example, how I would accomplish that is by marking the teacher as other, and that way, because other flows after student, and that way the teacher would take the last spot. So we're going to actually, this one, take the front spot, so we're going to mark teacher, hit apply changes, and then we're done. So now we fixed a duplicate situation. We've also got it to where teacher can flow first. I'm going to go back to the page designer here. Still have my category, my name format. My start and stop still look good. So now I'm going to flow my students. Okay, so now you can see that we have our images, everything looks good, but we still have this red X. So what causes the red X? Well, the red X is actually due to the names. So a red X in a text box means that not all the type in that box is showing. So it looks like we're kind of missing the last name here for the first and last row. The fix for this, how you do this comes with a further formatting thing that you can do. But one thing we do suggest is on fixing red X's or doing further formatting, that you'll want to make sure that you have your students basically at a part where you're confident with not flowing them or having to reflow them again. Because the next step that we're about to do to make this fix actually takes away the reset reflow ability. So what the fix that we're about to do is something that you'll kind of want to wait closer to when you're about to complete the page. That way, because you'll want to make sure that you have that reset reflow ability as long as you can. All right, so to fix this, what you would do is highlight the flow element so it selects all the students. And we're going to go under the flow options drop down in the top toolbar. So under the flow options menu, you're going to then advisors or advisor role logins are going to see the expand flow menu. So it's basically saying it's going to release the individual objects in the flow element for additional editing. Once expanded, you will not reflow. So it's taken away that ability. So you're going to hit I understand and expand. And now we can close our flow options menu. Now once it's expanded, you'll notice that each one of your photos and your text boxes are now individual. So to fix this one, there are a few things that we can do. Can't make it really wider, but one thing I can do is make it a little bit deeper here. So we did have that last name there. And we could then just kind of nudge this up a little better here. Now once we get all the type showing or fix what we needed there, the red X will go away, and then we can hit save. All right, let's see. Actually, I went kind of over on time, but we did cover everything that we wanted to cover today as far as starting with proof sheets, how to make corrections to names, move students into the right classes, how to flow onto, pick a template, bring that onto the page, make adjustments to the template before flowing, finding errors in that. So if anyone has any questions or or has a little bit of time, feel free to put those in the chat, or if you want to unmute yourself and ask a question about what we've covered, or if anyone does have any questions about what we covered, I have a little bit of time that I can go over those with you there. All right, did have a good question come in. How can I add a new student? Very good question. All right, well, I can't show it really on this right now, but okay. So we do find this time to time that sometimes we'll have a new student come in, they don't have, maybe their previous school doesn't have a photo for them. So you, the teacher or the advisor, has to get this student and take a picture of them with your own camera or your own cell phone there at the school. Most images coming off the phones these days are pretty good in size. So what you'll do when you get that photo, somehow get it to the computer that you're working on. And what you're going to do is you're then going to go into the image library. And you're just going to select the folder that the student needs to be uploaded to. Now, as advisor, you can upload, advisor role logins can upload directly to portrait categories. So you're going to select the folder, you're going to hit upload. Let's see, do I have a photo I can test real quick? Let's see what I can use here. All right, I'm just going to just pick an image here. So I'm going to upload my image. I know it's a photo of a baseball glove and not a student, but I couldn't use the other photo. Okay, so let's say that your photo of your new student has been uploaded to the class. So, yep, actually, yeah, if you have time, can you show how a person's name? You got it. That's actually the next thing I was going with there. So once it is uploaded, select your photo and then hit tag names. When your image comes up in the preview, just come over here and let's see. Oh, it's an Easton glove, so I'm just going to make the first name Easton. And let's get creative and just call it Easton Glover. That's our student. And we're going to hit save. So now we've got a name tagged on. Now that we have our image uploaded to the folder and we have a name tag with it, we now see that Easton Glover has now gone into alphabetical order with the rest of the students. So from here, if you have already flowed a class and you still have the reflow ability, you're basically going to just reset the flow, which is going to pull the students back out, and then you're going to flow that class back in again with the included student. Now, if you haven't flowed anything yet, you were just waiting on that new student's photo, then at that point, once you get it uploaded and the name tagged, you're good to flow in. No problem. No, you're welcome. Any other questions that we have before we take off today? Okay, I don't see anything else coming through, so maybe we're at a good spot here. So, okay, I think we're gonna go ahead and wrap up, but hey, thank you everyone that jumped in, signed in today. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. Hopefully these demonstrations of the functions related to the creation of portrait pages should eliminate some trial and error that can occur when working on a yearbook. So printing your portrait sheets and editing class data ahead of time
should result in better accuracy on some of the most important pages of a book. So feel free to join us here in a couple of weeks as we're going to be looking at the creation of activity and candid pages. So thank you again, everybody. You have a great rest of your afternoon, and we'll talk to you later.